I got here because we were going to talk about Matt Walsh, which is one of Ben Shapiro's lackeys. Okay. So let's watch. I have not seen a single fraction, okay, of this video yet. I'm literally watching this for the first time ever. No pre-watching, none of that. Partially because like I just did not want to subject myself to this, like at all. I did not want to subject myself to this at all. I don't care. So just casually dissing half a chat. No, dumbass, you are having a very hard time comprehending what I'm saying. If you think I'm dissing casually dissing half a chat, I'm saying you are best served to not actually abide by the rigid binary fucking understanding, outdated understanding of gender, if you yourself especially don't fit in those categories, okay? Your existence as a fucking man that doesn't fit in the macho, masculine, like big, broad-shouldered, hairy fucking guy attitude is 100% every single day destroying the binaries that you personally think you believe on. Do you get it? Are you implying all men have to be over 5'4"? There you go. That's again. No, I'm implying that you do have a narcissistic personality disorder and maybe a litany of other mental illnesses to think that I'm implying something that I did not say at all. As a matter of fact, I said the exact opposite of said thing, but you chose to understand what you wanted to understand because, you know, you want everyone to focus on you, and that will make you feel alive for a brief moment. The person who is implying that would be someone like Ben Shapiro, okay? And that's the thing. Gender is a construct, okay? Gender is a social construct. So you can very easily make it narrower and narrower and narrower, or as expansive as you want. So Ben Shapiro saying, no, actually, you can be 5'4" and have a voice like I do. And also on top of that, not be able to grow facial hair, but you can still be a man as long as you have a penis. Okay, well, who says? You know what I mean? Some people don't consider that. So what's up? Who says? We came to an agreement that that was it. That is what made you a man. Okay? Why are you armchair diagnosing? Since when did you become a licensed therapist? I did not. I probably do more fucking unlicensed therapy on here, like a fucking social worker than most people have to do on a daily basis. But I'm not. I don't think I think everybody understands that. All right, let's do it.
Gender studies is not just reduce gender to what psychologists might call individual differences, but rather thinking about gender. That's not women and man, but gender as a social form, something that kind of infuses itself into virtually all aspects of social life.
Let's talk about that then. I guess we should start with, we've got gender and sex, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
I saw that in your questions and I thought, my goodness, this is what we spend an entire semester kind of thinking through. But what we tend to think about in the social sciences.
God, I hate academia. I'm sorry. I like immediately it's like, just fucking, I think everyone in academia, if they're going to do media like this, if they're going to do hostile interviews like this, you have to go through a course where you figure out what the fucking, conservative talking point tree is, and then immediately speak against the talking point tree, okay? Because if you try to, like, pontificate on this and be like, oh, well, theoretically speaking, we spend an entire semester on this, like, no. He's going to fucking use that against you.
Today is that sex refers to a set of biological characteristics, and gender is a social construct or category. What I think is often misleading about that characterization is allowed to be sort of...
Wait, what? He did not just cut him describing it. He did not skip. Well, that's great. That's cool. He's just fast forwarding through his discussion. He's like, yeah, I don't really care about that because, you know, you're actually describing things.
Messy and complicated. But in that framing, when you split them up into these wholly discrete constructs, studies scholars, and really more specifically people who study gender and sex, we're not talking about sexuality right now. In the kind of academic universe that I travel in is that we see how deeply gendered ideas, cultural ideas about masculinity and femininity, maleness and femaleness, both in humans and in lots of other animals.
So are gender and sex two different things, or?
Well, I think that they both are and they aren't. I'm comfortable saying that gender and sex are two different constructs, but they're deeply intertwined with each other.
We're talking about gender and sex, and there's a lot of controversies there. If we're talking about a trans woman has all of the male physical characteristics, so would that not be a male then? Couldn't we plainly say this person is a male?
Well, I guess it's like, why are you?
Oh my God. Before I fucking do this, I literally forgot to run the hour ad break. I'm running it right now. I fucking talked about how I was going to run it. I got debated into running it. I forgot to run it. On so quickly. I'm going to run it right now, right this very moment. Okay. Sorry about that. This is a perfect representation, by the way, a perfect representation of conservative argumentation. He's not there in good faith. He doesn't need to learn anything. He doesn't want to learn anything. As a matter of fact, he is also cutting you up, like cutting your arguments up in an effort to make sure that no one accidentally learns anything, okay? He literally is like cutting it down to be like, yeah, look at how fucking blah, 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 boring, gay. Okay, bro. Thank you, Bill Vog, for the 10 gifted subs. Huh, gay, bro. What's a woman? Tell me now. Please tell me, what is a woman? I've never been around one. I've chained my wife into the basement. What is a woman? So he literally just fucking cut it down, made it seem like he was like being so convoluted and boring. And now is just going to go back and be like, I was not listening to anything. What's up? This is why you can't take these fucking animals seriously, okay? You can't. Matt Walsh is fundamentally no different than a fucking animal in the wild, okay? One note. An animal in the wild is like, I'm hungry, I smell food, I'm going to go eat it, okay? Matt Walsh, in this circumstance, is literally like, I want to cut propaganda. I fucking despise trans people, and I'm going to use every opportunity to fucking shit on trans people. How can I do it? I'm going to go up to this fucking guy, and I'm going to use them like a fucking fleshlight, okay? Like a pocket pussy. That's it. Do not ever take these motherfuckers seriously and try to educate them, okay? That's the difference. There are plenty of people in the wild that get their fucking talking points from idiots like Matt Walsh, who might be misconstrued, who might be misguided, who you can change the opinions of, okay? But Matt Walsh is not one of them. He's not there. Steven Crowder changed my mind. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't ever want his mind changed. What a hypocrite you are. Yes, dude, I'm a hypocrite for fucking adequately pointing exactly what Matt Walsh did in the first 1 minute and 40 seconds, where a fucking dude in academia is actually trying to describe something and he cut it in fucking pieces specifically to belittle him, okay? And is now going to cut agitprop off of it. That's not hypocritical. You're just a fucking idiot if you don't understand that. Do what conservatives are doing back to them is not a hypocritical moment. So here is what I'm basically stating. There are plenty of people in this community that come into this community with misguided opinions, right? Without fully comprehending or fully empathizing with marginalized communities. And they say stuff that we would consider to be passive aggressive, or they sometimes say things like they engage in what is known as microaggressions, right? And people get very fucking mad at those people in this chat as well. But what do I always tell you? No, you say, let's hear everyone. Then you say, just don't listen to that guy. Dude, you are too stupid to function if you think that's what I'm saying. I'm currently in the process of describing to you literally where you use charity and good faith and where you don't, okay? And you use charity and good faith when you're not talking to these professional animals, okay? They are literally fucking parasites. They are talking point machines. You, if you are in good faith and you think that these guys are in good faith, you will always, why do you patronize marginalized communities so often then? What do you mean patronize? What? Why do I have so many brain broken, mentally ill people in this chat every fucking day? I swear to God, this is the worst part about Twitch streaming. I should just never look at chat and just continue on with my rhetoric and continue on with my commentary without ever looking at these fucking idiots. Do you only insult your viewers? Dude, I am not insulting you personally. I'm insulting that person who says you're a fucking hypocrite. How is it so hard to understand? Are you schizophrenic? Do you think I'm talking to you directly? I am right now, but do you think I'm talking to you directly through the internet? Is that what you think? Why is it that like every time I try to fucking make an argument, people are like, well, that's directly about me. And I actually misconstrued exactly what he was saying. And he's actually signaling to me over the internet. Stop. Stop. Now listen to me, okay? Listen to me. Listen to my words. Be as charitable as you possibly can because I'm trying to describe it. I'm trying to describe exactly what I mean. There are plenty of people who come in here who are misguided. There are plenty of people who come in here who want to understand in good faith. In that process, they will sometimes engage in microaggressions. In that process, they'll sometimes say things that are actually mean and hurtful to marginalized communities. I am protective over those people in those situations because I think that there are plenty of people in this community that have learned and don't actually believe in the same things that they used to believe before they came into this community. So obviously I believe in changing. I believe in rehabilitation. I believe in learning, okay, and becoming a better person. And I despise whenever people use your past self against you. I say this all the time. I don't do it unless it's like currently still, unless you have not demonstrated change whatsoever and you're still a gigantic piece of shit. Okay? It's very frustrating. I also need to stop saying mental illness all the time because I recognize that there are so many people who do have mental health complications who are undergoing that daily struggle on a daily basis, but aren't gigantic fucking pieces of shit, obviously. And then they also immediately turn around and think, oh, he's vilifying mental illness again. I'm going to make it my life's mission to derail the chat now. So there is that too. Okay? Okay, so there are plenty of people, especially in this community, for example, that have changed their attitudes and minds about trans people. That's a one very basic thing. Why? Because I am a cishet, I'm a cishet dude that I'm a white passing cishet dude that fits the standards. Thank you, Kagura2, for the 10 tier 1 gift of subs. That fits the standards of what people would listen to, what people would trust, what people consider to be trustworthy. It's just the way it is, okay? So I try to use that privilege for good, to educate people. And that's why a lot of people have had their minds changed. They openly fucking admit that, right? They openly admit that, especially on trans issues and numerous other things. So that's fine. You can be someone who is like, well, maybe I was a little misguided by people like Matt Walsh. Maybe I was a little misguided because gender is plays such a fundamental role in everyday existence. Like it's coded into every part of our fucking lives, right? White passing, lemma. I mean, I'm white. I say I'm white. Don't get caught up in like stupid things, okay? So that's one thing. Always be kind to people and even take on emotional labor. I urge you to. If you want to change people's attitudes, change people's minds, it certainly was helpful with me. Okay, people who were kind enough to take on emotional labor got me to change my attitude about certain things, got me to change my mind about certain things. And that's why I try to fucking repay in kind, okay? I can do that because I'm privileged. It doesn't impact me in any meaningful capacity until that person shows you that they are abusing your kindness to just like get under your skin and piss you off or to do agitated propaganda. Right? And at which point I fucking clap your ass cheeks and I tell you I fucked your mom. I clapped your mom's ass cheeks as well and she liked it and now you're grounded and I ban you, right? Okay? People like Matt Walsh are never going to change their minds. They're never going to have an organic and very real come to Jesus moment. They're not going to actually be like, you know what? I never really thought about this. They are trying to feed you the talking points and reinforce the pre-existing transphobia that you already have, or they're trying to reinforce the pre-existing racist attitudes that you already have, okay? White supremacist attitudes that you already have. That's it. So you're never going to be able to fucking change their minds. So taking them seriously as though they are good faith actors is a silly bitch notion. And when you do that, like this college professor is doing, all they will do is cut you down, make you into a fucking fool in the editing bay, and then turn around and you know, use you for their own personal narrative, as is happening currently.
Well, I think that they both are and they aren't. I'm comfortable saying that gender and sex are two different constructs, but they're deeply intertwined with each other.
We're talking about gender and sex, and there's a lot of controversies there. If we're talking about a trans woman has all of the male physical characteristics, so would that not be a male then? Couldn't we plainly say this person is a male?
Well, I guess it's like, why are you asking the question? I think I want to understand sort of why that's so important. So if someone tells
Just
you...
to sort of understand reality, you know?
Well, I mean, I think when someone tells you who they are, you should believe them. So if a person says that they're a woman...
Like reality. What do you mean reality, dog? You make it, you tell people that you're, you know, not a theocratic fascist, but then you also do tell people that you are a theocratic fascist, like on your fucking social media. So what is the reality? Reality is what you make of it, right? When it comes down to gender, once again, the entire existence, and I'm going to use a term here that's going to be offensive to trans people, so trigger warning, okay? The very existence of traps, okay, or people, the very existence of passing implies that, like, people are personally, which, by the way, that is a transphobic thing, for the record, okay? That is a transphobic take. Transphobic word. Don't use it, obviously, because it still comes from a place of, like, otherizing trans women and claiming that they're not actually women, which is inherent to transphobia, okay? But the very existence of said concepts implies that these people are like, oh shit, they are literally fitting the standards that even I have, that is way more fucking rigid than, like, other people do, okay? That's it. That's what it is. Trans people that are that stealth, trans people that are passing, trans people that are considered, you know, the T word or whatever, right? Are already doing that. They're doing that. And that's what frustrates these motherfuckers. They're like, oh, no, gender is supposed to be rigid. It's like, well, they already shook your fucking reality, dumbass. They already did. They shook your fucking reality, and now you're angry that your reality is shook. You're like, no, this can't be. This can't happen. I hate it. And that's why Matt Walsh unironically came out and basically said, like, he doesn't believe in gender confirmation surgery for anyone. Like, he thinks that it should not happen at all. Okay? Now, it took college students an entire semester to understand gender dynamics. Hasan explained it to me in 5 minutes. Student depth L, Twitch needs easy. No. No, it's so much more complicated than the way I try to describe it, dude. Come on.
Woman, or they're a man, then that's them telling you their gender is. I'm not so sure what social interactions would have to do with maleness or femaleness that would be.
I'm not even talking about social context. I'm just trying to start by getting to the truth, you know.
Getting to the truth of what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of, like, getting to the truth. Again, in social...
No, see, he shouldn't say he's uncomfortable. He should fucking he should retaliate in the situation and be like, what do you mean truth? What is the truth? Okay? And then and this is a little bit of a trust scummy argument, but, you know, I think I found it very helpful in like as an introductory point to, like, get people comfortable with the idea of not being transphobic, and I have seen demonstrable success in this community as well. But, like, that's the reason why I always fucking I'm not a trans medicalist by any means, but that's the reason why I always use fucking what's his name? God damn it. Fucking Buck Angel, okay? Here, if you want to understand that gender is completely a fabrication, a expression, a sequence of like markers that you point to, you can look at someone like Buck Angel. Okay. Now, obviously, Buck Angel has some controversial takes as well, and we're not going to get into like next level. We're just doing introductory to transphobia right now. So all the trans people in the chat, don't fucking freak out. We're only doing introductory to transphobia. So that's why I'm using this as an example, because it doesn't stop there, but it begins there. Okay. You would never look to someone like this and point to them and go, that's a woman. You just would not do that. Like, Matt Walsh wants to live in a world where he's like, that man needs to use the women's restroom, and that man is actually a woman. Like, he literally is just like, if you were to point to him in a crowded room, right, and go, hey, can you grab my bag? It's next to that bald man, okay? Everyone would understand exactly what you mean. If you were to point to Buck Angel and go, can you get my fucking bag? It's next to that woman. Everyone would look at you like, are you out of your fucking... Where is the woman? What are you saying? Okay? So the irony itself is that because gender is an expression, and because it's an ongoing thing, right? It's like a thing that you wear every day, but it's become such a normal part of our lives and a normal part of our existence that like we just don't even comprehend it. Okay? Because of that, people like Matt Walsh unironically want to deny the reality in front of their fucking eyes. Okay? It is a performance. That's it. Okay? It's literally just like look, Matt Walsh wants to look at this person and go, that's a woman. And he's the fucking weirdo for that take. You understand? Like, that's a weird thing to say. But in Matt Walsh's universe, he's like, no, that's a woman. I don't care. I don't fucking care. That's a woman. And that is not how you do gender. That is not how you do everyday existence. That's not how you exist in polite society. You don't fucking go up to a person who's like, hello, my name is Matt. And you go, nah, actually, your name is not fucking Matt. It's John. I'm going to call you John. You would never do that. Society would fall apart, okay? Everything would break down if you were just like, no, don't care. You're not fucking Matt. You're John. Don't give a shit. Won't do it. Right? It just would not work that way. And gender is pretty much the same fucking concept. Okay? Is passingness really that important? Why does it have to be so binary? No. Passing is not the end-all be-all of being trans or existing in society, obviously. But passing is a good introductory point for a lot of people who have never thought about it this way. Do you understand? That's the reason why I use someone like Buck Angel as an example often when I'm talking to people who are otherwise transphobic. Okay? It's a good starting point for people to be like, well, I never really thought about it that way. Okay? So, and plenty of people have changed their minds because of this, right? So, these guys are just scared that being attracted to a trans woman makes them gay. Exactly. No, that's like part of it for sure. That's like a fear. I think that's a very real fear that a lot of these fucking weirdos have, and that's part of it. That's part of the reason why they're like so guided and so motivated. They're afraid of girl penis, like, and not afraid of it in the sense that like, oh my god, this girl has a penis, but more so afraid of it in like, oh my god, what if I like it a lot? What does that say about me? Why you see so many of them fucking turn into chasers, you know what I mean? That fetishize trans people. Lots of transphobia tends to be rooted in homophobia because they immediately sexualize trans people. Exactly. You always bring up, yes. I myself am a chaser, not a trans chaser, but a bald chaser, and that's why I bring up Buck Angel, of course, because he's fucking bald. Yes, that's right. I'm coming out. I'm a bald chaser, okay? Not an accident. I love my balds. All right. All jokes aside, though. All jokes aside. Yes, when I mock you baldies, I'm doing it from a standpoint of loving you, okay? Just want to let you know that I had a discussion about trans issues, men and women's sports and such with some friends, and thanks to the things I learned here, I was able to actually make a good case with quite a few people listening. It was awesome. Thank you. Fuck yeah. That's the whole point. That's why I do this shit. Okay? So, yes, I otherized the balds. Before we move on to all these other like weird fucking points, I guess what I'm trying to say is the truth is that Buck Angel is a man and not a woman. But Matt wants to undermine that truth. He wants to redefine that truth. He wants to make it seem like Buck is not a man. And to the Normans, they would probably look at that and go, if they didn't know that this was a trans man, they would go, yeah, you're crazy. You're a crazy person. This is a man. What the fuck's wrong with you? Okay? That's it. How would you respond to people who say this argument is reinforcing stereotypes and gender norms? I've had people use that point against me on this issue. I mean, there are plenty of trans people who do want to fucking reinforce gender stereotypes. Like, gender is an expression. It is. And it's for the way that society currently operates, it's a helpful expression for a lot of people, right? Like, I'm in favor of abolishing it, or I understand if you don't want to, if you don't feel like you fit into either gender or anything like that. I get it, I respect that. But, I still do think that plenty of people want to, if given the option, would 100% take it. It's like asking older trans women if they had the opportunity to get on hormone blockers, and like, what is it, like 90% of them say that would have been incredibly helpful. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. Anyway, passing and appearing stereotypically masc was a part of my initial transition, but now that I'm confident, socially male, I can embrace the more femme aspects of myself. Like, passing feels like a step to overcome initially. People say that because there's a weird idea that it's easier to be trans than it is to be a gender non-conforming gay person. Wait, what? Just false because it's definitely not easier. It's just different. Wait, what the fuck? It is certainly not easier to be trans. What the fuck are people talking about? Anyway, what? Okay, that was a confusing. What? I've never heard that, but that's a common TERF talking point. Yeah, dude, being a conservative or being a TERF is like a diagnosable mental illness. I swear to God. Anyway, that's just like, there's no saving people like that feel that way. Okay. So yeah, getting back to it, understand that like Matt Walsh is an insane person for pointing to someone like this and going, that's a woman, and no one would ever fucking feel that that's a woman. No one would ever think that that's a woman, right? And in normal everyday existence, you don't operate that way. You don't go, hey, let me see your pussy. Do you have a pussy or a dick under there? If someone came up to Buck and was like, do you have a pussy or a dick? What's going on? You got ovaries? What's up? They get fucking rocked. They'd be like, you're a fucking pervert. You know what I mean? You'd be a psycho. But that's what Matt Walsh wants. And that's the degree that conservatives have to go to, especially with like medicine becoming more advanced, especially in this fucking field. That's the reason why in Ohio, Republicans are like, anyone that's ever even considered to be trans, any female high school athlete that someone thinks is trans, you can just go up and be like, that team is dominating us. They have a bunch of trans female athletes. You have to undergo rigorous medical checks. A doctor has to look at your fucking pussy, and if you have too large of a clitoris, for example, I don't know, you might be intersex. We're going to consider that to be trans. And that's psychotic. That's completely fucking psychotic. That's a real bill in Ohio. These Republican motherfuckers that say we got to make the government smaller are now unironically saying the government needs to put their hands on your fucking like tiny baby daughter's vagina, okay? And that's insane to me. If they want to play high school volleyball, sorry, you got to get fondled by a fucking adult. And it's gruesome too. It is disgusting. Like, it's traumatizing. Some medical inspections are unironically traumatizing for young children, okay? So just remember that. Remember that when we're having this conversation. Like, that's what they need to do. They need to do like blood tests to see. Like they need your chromosomes. Like, what? Do we have to fucking literally wear our chromosomes on us as like a bracelet or something? Like, how fucking psychotic is that? That's insane. That's not normal. That's 1987 George Orwell Animal Factory, Animal Farm, brother. Animal Crossing, brother. Motherfuckers are like, let's do Gattaca. You know what I mean? Daily checks, rigorous checks on people's gender. Like, that is an insane, insane fucking way to live, okay? And it betrays the supposed conservative values of small government that they espouse. It betrays everything, and it's fucking stupid. But that's the degree that conservatives are willing to go to in order to set this fucking, in order to set up the world in the way that they want to, because they don't care. They ultimately don't care about trans people. They just don't want them to exist. They hate trans people and they want to kill trans people. That's it. They want to murder trans people. They want trans people to fucking commit suicide. They want trans people to just not exist. They want trans people to fucking go away. Okay? That's what it comes down to. And any conservative, professional conservative pundit that tells you that that's not the case and that they're simply like protecting children or that they're simply fucking protecting the sanctity of female sports, no, that's not real. It's fucking bullshit. Ultimately, it comes down to the exact same concept. That's why the advocacy for trans women in sports always revolves around like, well, let's make a trans-only league. Yeah, okay, the 3 trans girls that like are in 3 different fucking fields are all going to compete against one another in this like what, triathlon? Is that what you're going to do? Or the bathroom thing where it's like we can't have trans girls in girls' rooms. You know what I mean? It's like, well, where do they pee then? Nowhere. They can't pee. I don't care. Because ultimately, it comes down to, I just don't want a trans person in the school. I think it's disgusting and gross, and I don't want them to be in school. That's it. That's what it comes down to. It's like dunking on some of the most marginalized fucking people in America right now.
Why is that uncomfortable?
Because it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me. And if you keep probing, we're gonna stop the interview.
If I probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. I'm saying to you...
How is the word truth condescending and rude?
Why don't you tell me what your truth is, and you're walking on 30 seconds more of thin ice before I get up.
What my truth is? Well, I don't think I really have a truth. I think that there's just the truth, like the reality. And so we should...
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. A conservative claiming that there is an objective truth, color me surprised, folks, okay? No, obviously that's not the case. If that was the fucking case, you wouldn't try to murder trans people, okay? For how they make you feel. Like, oh, my truth is the objective reality, which is why I'm trying to literally continue grabbing on to like the prior understanding of gender as desperately as I possibly could, because holy fuck, my reality is shaking every time I see a sexy ass fucking trans girl and then I find out that they were they were assigned male at birth. That fucking gets me really, really riled up, which is why I'm a genocidal anti-trans freak now, okay? If that was the fucking case, you wouldn't give a shit.
Begin by trying to figure out what the reality is.
Uh-huh. And why are you concerned with when someone else tells you that they're a man, or even if they use the word male, why are you concerned with not believing them?
Well, you keep bringing it back to, how do you respond in a social situation? But,
that's what I do. I'm a social scientist.
Well, right, but we're in a university. This is a place of understanding truth, isn't it? Or
Absolutely. We
But the
pursue
truth
truth, and I'm a social scientist, and that's what I do.
But you just said the truth is transphobic.
That you would say, if you're saying the truth is that I get to say, you're not a man, show me your genitalia, that's transphobic.
No, I don't want to see anybody's genitalia. I just mean someone can make a statement about themselves that could be untrue. Like, for
Yes, that is the case. Except in civilized society, in polite society, the concept of what your gender is a complete fucking expression, okay? And you are a psycho, which is why I go back to this. You want to identify this person, this man, as something but a man. This is a fucking man. Every single person, unless they're like a gigantic fucking transphobic person who like knew prior that Buck Angel was assigned female at birth, right? Like, every single person would be like, that's a man. Matt Walsh is like, nope, that's not a man, because I found out additional information, and I think that like, every part of the expression, every part of like his expression is even fitting the societal standards of what we consider to be a man. Okay, even in our rigorous understanding of gender, which is not the fucking end point. Okay, that's just the beginning point. And I still don't believe that. I still refuse to admit that. I still refuse to recognize that. He is the one who is being untruthful, okay? He is literally trying to set up a standard where it's like, I need to see your dick and your pussy. Don't care how old you are. Matt Walsh wants to fucking see people's dicks and pussies before he interacts with them, and that is psychotic.
For example, if I were to say that I'm a black man, would you accept that, or would you be skeptical?
Are you black? Are you African American? Are you biracial?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, you don't look that, and I don't think it doesn't sound like that's a genuine statement of who you are.
Okay, so that's my point. I could make a statement about who I am that's incorrect.
Of course, I think it's well established that human beings can lie, yes.
Or not even lie. I mean, I could just be mistaken.
Yeah.
Sure where you're going. I guess this all comes back, this all comes down to really one question. Especially women, gender and sexuality studies. So what is a woman?
Why do you ask that question?
Dude, ask him questions back, dude. Just you got him when you said, what is the truth? It was great. It was awesome. Because he was like, my truth is, okay, what do you want? You wanna fucking do pussy inspection day at school? You wanna do penis inspection day at school? What extents are you willing to go to? What is a woman? Okay, what is a woman to you?
I just really like to know.
What do you think the answer to that question is?
Well, I'm asking. That's why I came to a college professor who's...
Oh, dude, I'm just asking questions. The documentary. Matt Walsh took literally the most annoying fucking trait of debate perverts on the internet and basically made an entire documentary around it with the express purpose of just like trying to fucking trigger people by being an absolute buffoon. Okay? That's it. That's the starting point. That's the ending point. That's precisely the only thing that's happening here. Holy fuck, dude. Holy fucking shit.
This is what you do.
What other kinds of answers have you gotten?
A lot of like this, where you're not answering, and I've gotten a lot of that. So
I think it's interesting that you say that.
So that's such a fucking disingenuous fucking argument, because he literally was like, okay, what do you think it is? And he can't even answer it because he doesn't want to answer it because it is not as easily fucking identifiable. Okay. That's it. Because the moment that you say, well, it's a person with chromosomes, you say, do you check people's chromosomes when you actually fucking talk to them? Is that something that you do regularly? Do you ask people if their ovaries are fucking working? Do you think that girls, before they get their first period, are not women? Do you think that older women that have menopause are not women because they're no longer able to fucking reproduce? Why do you think that like reproduction is the only primary capability? Why do you think that reproduction is the most important trait that a woman can have, especially when there are plenty of women that have, for example, genetic disorders and disabilities that render them to not have children, that cause them to not be able to have children? What do you think about intersex women? So, like, this is the point. Everything shatters the moment that you turn the question back to people like Matt Walsh, okay? When you turn around and you ask them, like, okay, so if you have this, like, rigid understanding of what it means to be a woman, then explain to me, is this the level of care and detail that you're putting into, and do you find that to be an appropriate way to exist in society? They are going to look like a fucking psychopath. And I'm sure he probably did that, if he did. And unfortunately, of course, Matt Walsh has every opportunity to cut that down and make him look silly.
That some of the people you've interviewed have been reluctant to answer it, and I think that has a lot to do with the questions that preceded it, and the way that you've conducted yourself in the interview.
How have I conducted myself?
How do you think you've conducted yourself?
You just really don't want to answer the questions, do you?
I came today very willing and enthusiastic about answering questions about women's and gender sexuality studies, which is
so
the
you
work
wanted
that I do.
You wanted to answer questions about women's studies, and so shouldn't the first answer you should be able to provide is what exactly is a woman?
Well, for me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what?
Yeah, like, there you go. Boom. Okay? Someone who identifies as a woman. Yes, people can be bad faith, okay? Yes, people can lie. That is a thing that people can do. You know who does it all the time? Conservatives. Maybe we should abolish conservatism from society. If you truly are really fucking triggered at the prospect of someone lying about being a woman when they're not a woman, then the people that we need to fucking throw in prison are conservatives. Because I've never met someone who's like, I'm actually a woman that's not really a fucking woman, but I've met a lot of fucking conservatives who like to do that for an argument, or because they want to make a point, or because they want to fucking go and like deadlift or something at a competition. So fucking yeah. If you believe that people who are lying about their fucking gender, specifically for some kind of gain, it should be in prison, then we're locking up every conservative that's ever made that argument, okay? That's it. No one else. No one else goes to jail, just the conservatives, okay? Which we should do for good measure regardless. I do believe that. You know what I mean? Rehabilitation over incarceration. Re-education. I mean, seriously, fucking seriously. I've like, the idea that they are trying to fucking legislate away is not a thing. It's not a real thing. It's not a real person. It's only fucking conservatives that do it, okay? They can't find anyone. They can't find anyone who actually fits this description, so they just make it up themselves. They become that person. It's like Steven Crowder constantly fucking cross-dressing. You know what I mean? He's like, I can't find a trans person that's like being, is operating in the way that I want them to operate. So I'm just going to be that person and make videos about it. You're making fun of someone that like doesn't exist. Can trans people be cringe? Of course they can. Okay. Of course. Of course they can. Can trans people be hysterical? Of course they can. Okay. Obviously. Everyone can. This is hysterical. This is cringe as fuck. Everyone has the capacity to be fucking cringe. Using that against like the entire broad spectrum of trans people is psychotic. To like continue making transphobic arguments is psychotic. Ultimately, if you're talking about someone, okay, if you're talking about someone who is like faking being fucking trans for some kind of gain, it's like, you do HRT then. I used to make this argument back in the day when people were being fucking homophobic. I was like, yeah, are you gonna suck a cock? Are you going to put a dick in your ass? If you think gay people are doing it for attention, are you sucking a cock right now? Why are you are talking to me with my cock unsucked, okay? What is this? I'm only hearing words. I want to go suck that dick right now. Go take HRT. Do it. Undergo gender confirmation. And then we'll talk. If you're doing it for, if it's that easy, if it's a flip like that, dude, do it. Do it. It's the same exact principle. It comes from the same exact place. The bigotry is the exact same, and the talking points are the exact same. Okay?
What are they identifying as?
As a woman.
But what is that?
As a woman.
What is this? So you said that a woman is whoever identifies as one, but you also said that person is a man based on his photo? Because I'm not a fucking weirdo, dude. Obviously, we make these fucking assumptions, dog. So if someone fucking tells me that they're not, then of course I'm going to change the way that I gender them. What is wrong with you, dude? What the fuck? Like, yeah. I don't make assumptions on what someone's name is, but once they fucking tell me what their name is, I don't go, nah, actually, I'm gonna keep calling you whatever the fuck I was originally. Okay? Like, why do you make it seem like I'm not even running around being like, everyone needs to fucking immediately tell you what their gender pronouns are immediately as soon as they start the conversation. Okay? Would that make things easier for a lot of people? Certainly. But would it make it a little bit more, cluttered? Would it make language a little bit more cluttered, especially in the transitional period into having that become the norm? Absolutely. Okay? Maybe it's because of my own personal privilege in this regard, but I do understand that, and I do understand how difficult that would be, but I have no fucking problem telling people what my gender pronouns are, and no problem asking people what their gender pronouns are, and trans people will fucking tell you. Trans people will literally tell you what their gender pronouns are. You know what I mean? They will tell you that. They will tell you. If you're wrong, they will correct you. And people are like fucking terrified, I guess, of like even misgendering someone because they think like a trans person is gonna kill you if you are accidentally misgendering someone. Okay. Saying that there isn't an example doesn't mean it's not an option. That's not an argument. Wait, what? Okay, dude. Except I personally think you have the capability of being a pedophile. I am going to legislate you away. Okay? I am going to throw you in jail. Okay? I'm going to stop you from fucking actually operating because, hey, it hasn't happened yet, but you could be a pedophile. So I'm just going to throw every conservative in jail going forward because, hey, it can happen. Actually, there are plenty of examples of conservatives being pedophiles, so it's not even a good fucking example in this conversation. So we should throw every conservative in fucking jail because they're pedophiles. Homie literally just admitted it. He's like, well, just because a trans person hasn't done that doesn't mean that they're capable of doing it. That's not a trans person doing it then, you fucking jackass. That's a cis person lying. There's a difference between a trans person saying, this is my gender, and there's a difference between that and a cis person being like, ha, I'm a woman because I want to fucking deadlift more than all these other cis women. And then like cutting a fucking YouTube video. I agree. We should send you to a re-education camp if you do that. How about that?
Do you know what a circular definition is?
I do.
It's sort of like what you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you're seeking what we would call in my field of work an essentialist definition of gender. I think it sounds like you would like me to give you a set of biological or cultural characteristics that are associated with one gender or the other.
I'm not seeking any type of definition. I'm just seeking a definition.
Yeah, and I gave you one.
Yeah, you want crack, my dude? Peace. Yeah, exactly. Using biology is psychotic. That's, dude, the biology argument doesn't suit your purpose. You are wrong, okay? The concept of intersex people, the existence of intersex people completely diminish even the biology argument in the way that you think it is, okay? It doesn't even exist. Well, that wouldn't happen if we didn't have trans kids, right? What is your suggestion? You're trying to fucking murder them then, I guess. Incredible stuff, dude. Biology. Like, biologists don't agree with you. There is no biological argument, you fucking idiot. It's just other unrelated fields telling you that, like, oh, actually, like, it's biology. Lol. That's it. Is the same percentage of intersex people as there are genders? Should we just ignore the existence of genders too? Like, no, dude, it's just Homie said, yeah, by the way, he said, oh, this is a tautology, right? Like, you're making a circular argument. And then his entire argument is like, well, truths are truths regardless because it's the truth. Yeah, okay. Well, what kind of fucking argument are you making about the, about truth? But I always mention this, and it's something that people need to understand, okay? As long as there are plenty of fucking idiots out there, people like Matt Walsh can get away with these idiotic arguments because they're serving the fucking majority. It's the sad reality, but that is how it is, okay? So just remember that. That is the sad, fucking, pathetic existence. The sad, pathetic reality is that as long as there are dumbasses who are just basically reinforcing our preconceived, sometimes antiquated cultural norms that every institution is also, basically fucking reinforcing,